Washington Commanders and the Denver Broncos. Broncos, 3.5-point home favorites here over the Commanders. 39.5 is your total. Steven, the Commanders are bad. We knew they were going to be bad. Thank God I got them behind me in Survivor, and I never have to look at this team ever again. Basically, it's on the other side of 3, which gives me a little bit of pause. The Broncos will be a contest play for me for sure, because if they getting Jerry Jeudy back this week, if they can't beat this Commanders team at home by margin, then I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I get it. Chase Young's will be back for the Commanders. That doesn't change the fact that this offense is just, this team is bad. I always held out hope that maybe they could just be, I didn't think that they could ever be above league average. I thought that there was at least a chance. You know what? Sam Howell, they got a lot of playmakers. Maybe they can be somewhere close to league average. They're not going to be. They're going to be one of the 6-7 worst teams in the NFL all season long. And so with that, again, like I said, I think it's a contest play for me on the Broncos, but I don't have the 3.5 in the account as we sit.
Eli Hershkovich agrees with you. He also bet Broncos -3.5. You can go listen to the Beat the Closing Number pod to hear his explanation. And I'm going against you both on this one because I bet Washington +3.5, maybe foolishly on the look ahead line before even seeing what this offense looks like. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to bet them again. I mean, I would bet them again. I already have the bet. I'm not going to double down, but I'm fine with 3.5 here. And to me, it's mostly about game state and what we're going to see. I've already said that the Howell sacks last week were not the offensive line's responsibility. On the snaps where he was pressured, he had an average of 2.8 seconds to get rid of the ball. That should never result in a sack. So that was Howell's fault. Hopefully he learns from it. We'll see. But Eric Bieniemy helped by scheming up the number 3 expected completion percentage in his debut. So passing grade for Bieniemy in his first go around here as Washington offensive coordinator. And for Denver, Denver's bad too. I don't believe in this offense. Maybe Jerry Jeudy's back, but the Washington defense, we've both agreed, Matt, is very good. And now they also lose Greg Dulcich at tight end. And on top of that, their defense was dead last in pressure rate in week 1, only 6.9% pressure rate for the Broncos defense, despite blitzing 31% of the time. The secondary is good for Denver. The front 7 is below average. So combine that with Mr. Anti-Air Yards, Mike Lombardi and Sean Payton, basically treating Russell Wilson like he's Justin Fields and Desmond Ridder with a 4.1 ADOT in week 1, meaning longer drives, longer possessions, eating up clock. If that's the game state here, I'm taking the hook at +3.5 with a total under 40 here. I'm fine with that. And maybe Washington really does suck, but this is also a game theory play for me too.
Adam, what say you?
No go in this game for me.
Yeah.
I do think we need to reevaluate one prior that I think we all held. Maybe Steven gets a little pass on this one because he talked about the change in coordinator on the defensive side for Denver last week, but there were only 3 teams in the league that were worse in dropback EPA per play last week than the Denver Broncos. Seattle, unsurprisingly, Chicago, unsurprisingly, and the Chargers, who went against Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. And who did Denver play? Jimmy Garoppolo and Mick Lombardi and Josh McDaniel? That should be worrying if you're handicapping Denver. If you're looking at that team, you're looking at a team that won games in the first half of last year with its defense, or at least should have won games with its defense if its offense hadn't been so putrid. So I'll sit this one out largely because I need to see if Denver's offense really is going to be this bad. Mm-hmm. I need to see what the Washington defense is going to look like with Chase Young. I do think the side for me would be Washington if I were going to play it. However, I'm not sure I wouldn't play an alt spread on this if I loved Washington, and I might push this down, where I don't have to get as many points. Yeah, you can play at money line. You can play at money line. I might actually flip it all the way out and go like Washington -2.5 on an alt spread, because if you believe that the Denver defense is a problem, then I think you believe that there's going to be some room for the Washington offense to make strides. And if you take all 4 units in this game and say, what is the unit that I believe is good? The only one you can say you believe is good is the Washington defense.